Hi there, my name is Jackson and welcome back to SMC Garage. Today's episode is going to be all about U-joints. So recently I discovered that all four of my U-joints in both the front drive shaft and the rear drive shaft are all bad on this vehicle. Now, my van has been through a lot. It's done a lot of off-roading and had a hard life, so it's no surprise to me that these U-joints have actually gone bad. This is going to be a two-part video. So the first part is going to be about explaining how I diagnosed these bad U-joints, and the second video is going to be all about how I replace the U-joint. So you can follow along if you need to do that on your vehicle, maybe diagnose a vibration or another issue with your vehicle. You can actually watch the other video as well. So now that we have this thing up in the air, either you can do it on jack stands on ramps like me, and you have it safely chalked and in gear. Now's the time to take the drive shaft out. But actually before that, let's talk about driveline angles, faulty U-joints, and the possible causes of a faulty U-joint.
So a good first step in checking that you have your vehicle properly set up to actually remove this drive shaft is to crawl under the vehicle, and if you've done all the steps properly, you should have the ability to feel play, not just in these joints that we checked earlier, but see this companion flange moving and seeing this companion flange moving. That means that this drive shaft is no longer loaded and we are okay to take it out. The issue with having a loaded drive shaft is that it's actually supporting some sort of torsional force from the vehicle. So there's actually force that's stopping the vehicle from moving, running through this drive shaft. So suddenly if you take this drive shaft out, what's stopping this thing from rolling? So that's important. That's a good, important safety step to do at the start.
So now that we got one of our drive shaft removed, now it's time to press in the new U-joints. So first we got to get the old ones out, and our first step is going to be marking either our yoke or our companion flange. And that's really important because this drive shaft is balanced. So we can see here that this has balanced weights. And when they balance that, they also include either the yoke or the companion flange in that equation, so it's all balanced together. So we want to keep that in line. I'm also going to do the same procedure with the rear. Take my Sharpie, mark a line through it. So now that we have everything marked up, there's going to be some few supplies you'll need for this. So starting out, we're going to need a pair of snap ring pliers. These are cheapo ones from Canadian Tire. They work just fine. A pair of pliers or channel locks, something good you can grip onto the caps once we get those out. A little pick. Some Scotch-Brite. I'll show you how that comes into play later. A little hammer, and ideally a ball joint press kit. Here's why I'd recommend getting a press kit over hammering them out. You know, there's the old thing you can do with just a socket and a hammer. I won't be covering that in this video, but that is an option. There are videos out there to show you how to do that. The reason I don't recommend that is just because it's a lot harder, and especially when you're doing all four of them. So you're doing the two in the rear, and then you're doing the two U-joints on the front drive shaft. It makes it a lot simpler and a lot faster to just get a kit. And the reason I recommend a kit, as well as if you're getting into doing your own work on your own cars, these ball joint press and U-joint service kits can be used for a number of things. Pushing out bushings on control arms, ball joints of course, U-joints, and a bunch of other things that you can apply it to. So really it's worth the money. This kit was from Amazon, 60 bucks. And honestly, it's worth every penny. So before we go and press the old ones out, let's get familiar with how U-joints work. So let's take a look at a new U-joint. So this is one of the new ones I got. Basically, it consists of the main body, which is the centerpiece here, And then the caps. So the caps are filled with little tiny roller needle bearings. And then of course it has a seal to keep the grease inside and the dirt and dust and water out. So let's get into removing the old U-joints. So let's start by pulling this snap ring out. Stick it in the eyelets here, just squeeze. It's probably gonna slip a couple times, that's why you wear the glasses. If you're ever having trouble removing these, like I am, where one side is getting stuck or maybe it's really rusty, what you can use is some penetrant, some penetrating fluid or penetrating oil, and just kind of pull up this cup. So actually I've got this first part out, and what I can do is grab a pick or a screwdriver, just kind of work my way around until it pops out like that. And there's our C-clip. So actually I changed my mind. I've been struggling with these stupid things for like 10 minutes on one of these. Actually invest in some nice ones. I mean, you can struggle your way through it with these for now, but if you're gonna be doing stuff like this on a regular basis, yeah, buy some good ones. Yeah, I got some good ones at work, and they're awesome, but they were pricey. So I thought, yeah, we'll try the cheap ones. Yeah, these are garbage. Don't buy them. So after struggling a ton and breaking a couple, finally got all the old C-clips out. So when you buy new U-joints, they'll come with new C-clips, so those old ones can go in the bin. Next, we can actually start to press these out. So basically, this plunger of our tool is going to push both sides of the U-joint out, and this cup that's built into the press is going to receive it. So this is where I like to stop with the press. So we can see that the U-joint is actually completely out of this flange, and the other cap is sticking out the back end. So from here, we're gonna take our pliers, and we're just gonna wiggle it out. That simple. So our next step is to, once we've taken the one cap off the one side, we're actually gonna push the U-joint back in and do the same procedure with the back cap. So one thing that I will mention that is important is that when you're pressing it back in, this cap has to go in perfectly straight. And the same procedure, grab my pliers, just wiggle her out. So now that we've got our old one out, what we can do is start to clean the bores in which our new ones are going to go in. Obviously there's a C-clip channel, and that's where our kind of pick comes into play here. So what we're going to do is just kind of scrape out that channel, and that just ensures that when we put our new C-clip in, that's a good solid place to actually clip into. And then what I like to do is get a little piece of Scotch-Brite and just go in and clean it like this. So naturally when you take these caps out, sometimes they leave a little burr on this inner edge. So if you ever get that, just take a file and file the edge on either side, and that just ensures that that doesn't get caught in there when you're pressing in the new one. We can now reinstall, or I guess install, our brand new U-joint. So we're going to start out with taking two caps out. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sneak these through and then install one cap. So before we go installing these caps, we can see that there's a whole bunch of little needle bearings inside each cap. And before we go installing them, we want to make sure that they're all in place. You can see that there's one there that's not quite in place. So I'm just going to take my pick and align that, make sure they're all at the side for when I go in and install it. When I press them in, what I like to do is just give it a quick tap, and that actually just seats it properly. And then go in and double check that my Needle bearings are all okay. And then I can go in and press them. So we're just gonna go until, oh, I went a little too far, that's okay. So you're just gonna go until you pass that channel on the inside where that C-clip is gonna sit. There we go, it's clipped into the channel. Now we can go turn this over and put our other cap in. Maybe. Oh, man. So here's my flange here. Sharpie mark lines up with Sharpie mark. And we're gonna have the same issue where this is pretty tight to move. So we've already set this one. We're just gonna go in with our hammer again. So here's the yoke, just give it a quick tap around. And now it's free, it's loose, it's nice. And we can just go reinstall our grease fitting. So there we go. All the C-clips are in, the joint moves nice and freely. As you can see, it's not that hard, but sometimes it can be a process, especially when you have tools that are kind of terrible. But we've successfully installed a brand new U-joint, and then for the 3 other ones in the vehicle, just kind of rinse and repeat.
So now I've got both front and rear drive shafts in. So when you bolt these things back up, the good procedure is to tighten them in a crisscross kind of pattern, but clean the flanges first and lock tight your bolts. Now follow your manufacturer's recommended tool spec and you should be good to go. So now that both front and rear drive shafts have brand new U-joints, let's take it for a spin and see if it's helped with any of the vibration and humming that I was hearing.
So let's take it up to higher RPM, higher speeds. Feels nice. I feel no vibration anymore. I hear, most importantly, I hear no humming. I don't feel any worse vibration. Sometimes that can happen if you've installed the U-joint improperly, or you haven't marked where you place those balance. Remember those balance weights that you have on your drive shaft. If you don't line those back up, again, especially with a 2-part drive shaft like I have, where it's splined into each other, that can cause a huge issue. Well, I'm happy with the way that turned out. You know, I think for the most part, all of that vibration is gone. I feel confident that I have good parts in there now. And I think that about wraps it up. Thank you for watching SMC Garage. Once again, my name's Jackson. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe, give it a like, send a comment, questions or concerns. I can answer them for you, or we can have a good discussion. If you want to see something differently done, put that in the comments, let me know. So once again, thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.